This is Minutia Men with Rick and Dave.
Oh my God, it's good to be back, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
You already got your feet up on my desk. He's got put his feet up on my desk, which,
that's kind of
making himself feel at home.
Well, I missed you.
Well, that's, I just saw you yesterday.
Mm-hmm. You know who else I saw yesterday?
Yeah, I do.
My best...
Why don't you tell everybody?
My best buddy.
You're dying to tell everybody.
I've been telling people, like, at the toll booth today. Yeah. So Rick and I, we took David Fletcher, our author of Chili Dog MVP, well, one of the authors of Chili Dog MVP. We took to see the Who's Tommy.
Right, because he's also a gigantic fan. In fact, he and Dave had already seen the show
three times. Right, so it was the fourth time we saw Tommy the musical.
Yep.
And we're just sitting there, we're going, this is the last show. I wonder if Pete's going to show up. And then we noticed there was like 5 or 6 seats, just like 3 rows ahead of us.
Right.
And a little bit to the right. Yeah. And we're like, I bet he's going to sit there. Ha, ha, ha. And then like 10 seconds later... Rick, you gasped like you eked.
Like, oh my God!
You eked, and Pete walks right in front of us, goes to his seat. This is almost as big as the time that we sat behind Adrian Belew watching Amadeus in 1984 or whatever. But I bet I spent. Now, because I had already seen the show 4 times, I'm like, I know what's going to happen next, right? Yeah. So I just watched Pete for, I bet, easily 5 minutes throughout the show. I was watching Pete just to watch his reactions.
I think everybody in the theater was doing that.
Yeah,
I mean, I know I was too. And it was only my first time seeing the show. And by the way, the show was great. It's supposed to go to Broadway next year sometime, they think. Maybe.
I talked to Tommy.
Yeah.
I talked to the guy who, by the way, could speak and hear and everything.
Here's the thing. All right, I'm just going to say this on behalf of our listeners.
Yeah.
You and David Fletcher, our author, were the biggest geeks ever. I mean, they wanted to stay there, and they wanted to meet the actors.
Right.
Like, oh my God, it's the little girl who played Tommy. Like, oh my God, that's
the one ensemble
guy. That's Dancer 5. That's Dancer 5. It really was hilarious.
Yeah. And I have seen you in your element with Beatles stupidity.
Okay, fair enough.
That's George Martin's third cousin Sally, works at the Baskin Robbins.
That's Fergie Jenkins' daughter's cousin's brother.
But when it comes to Broadway, which I can't imagine it's not, right? I mean, it was such a... well, I'm going to say, Pete will get us tickets, I'm sure.
Oh, well, so he wasn't the only famous person we saw there.
Oh, we saw Bob Falls.
Bob Falls,
who we've worked with.
We have.
We've studied under Bob Falls.
He is the guy who was like, the head of the Goodman. He's famous as a theater director and producer, and he's won Tony Awards on Broadway. Yeah. And he also was the choreographer for the Cliff Dancers, which was Dave and I
very proud moment in our lives.
And I went up and introduced myself to him, and he remembered me.
Yeah.
And then I mentioned the Cliff Dancer thing, and he remembered that.
And then I, of course, said
and he actually, in fairness to him, didn't even look humiliated.
Right. I looked on his website. He's not mentioning it,
but he wasn't denying it.
If
it was me, I would have said, "Never heard of you. I have no idea what you're talking about."
We should get him. We should, now that we have it in, we should get him on the podcast.
We should. But you know what else we should do? We should actually do the podcast.
Yeah. All
right, let's do it.
The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie production on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Minutia Men with Rick and Dave.
Yeah, I noticed Pete had a little mole on his cheek. I'm a little worried about that. I'm going to have to...
how far is the footage now for the restraining order that you...
30 feet.
30 feet?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Which was crazy because I was 32 feet away from him. So I don't know how they knew that. Well, we got a great show, and we better get going.
Okay.
Now we're back. I don't know if anybody noticed. This is the new content. We were gone for 3 or 4 weeks because...
it's actually more like 5 weeks.
Because Rick is writing a book.
Yes, I
am.
And
he couldn't do 2 things. I got to write the Twitter book.
You know how long it takes to write a book that requires the kind of research that I had to do on this one?
And it's going to be coming out in the Christmas
fall,
time, and it'll be our Christmas book, or one of the Christmas books, about the Loop radio station.
About the radio station. Yep.
And the lawsuit will come February.
Yeah,
then
whatever.
Probably. Yeah.
By then we'll be in Cancun.
with all the books that we have sold. Yeah. This story comes out of UK.
All right.
Sarah Ferguson, you've met Ferguson.
I have.
Duchess of York. She named her reconstructed breast Derek. Okay. Oh. The Duchess of York has named her reconstructed breast Derek after her single mastectomy surgery to treat breast cancer.
I have a cousin named Derek. He's going to be thrilled with this news.
Right. Sarah, 63, and she looks pretty good for 63.
She's older than us.
Yeah. Had the operation in June after she was diagnosed with breast cancer following a routine mammogram screening. So everybody out there, men and women, get mammograms. She explained in her own podcast that personalizing her new breast was a positive move to help her move forward.
That's very nice.
And asked why she chose the name. She said, I don't know. It just kind of made me laugh. Okay. Derek's kind of a funny name for a breast, right? Needless to say, this got me thinking a little bit. And I have a theory, and I think we probably discussed it on the air before, that every man on Earth, and I'm including every man, like the Dalai Lama, okay, they have nicknamed their penis at some point, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Every one of them.
Absolutely.
Well, I did a little research, and I found out that there's actually been some extensive work on this topic.
Really?
Okay. So I've created
elongated studies of the subject,
long and hard. So I've created a Minutia Men quiz on what men call their penises.
Okay.
So roll, and this is all going to be based on research.
Okay.
So roll the jingle, please.
Time now for a Minutia Men Minutia Quiz.
Question 1. In a 2013 survey conducted by the men's retailer Giacomo, what percentage of men prefer a wacky, lighthearted name instead of a tough, masculine name for their penis?
I would say...
Well, hold on. 10%,
12%,
28%, 40%.
That's the amount that want wacky.
The wacky.
40%.
28%.
Oh.
So 72%.
Wow. Can't even joke about it.
Can't even joke about it. Right.
Well, I'm in the 28% myself.
Oh, well, what is your...
I can't say.
Mine is Eeyore. What are you doing? Channing Tatum. You know Channing Tatum, right?
Yeah. The movie star.
People's Magazine 2012.
Sexiest man alive.
Exactly, 2012. You know what he calls his penis?
What?
Well, hold on. Chuck.
Okay.
Steve.
All right.
Thor. Or Gilbert.
I would say Chuck.
Gilbert.
Oh,
I think that's a great name.
Yeah, that is.
What is the most common name men name their penises in Australia based on this 2013 survey? The choices are Billy the Willie.
Okay.
Peter the Pecker. Bobby the Bobber. Or Fred.
Willie the Willie.
Fred.
Wow.
Shortened to the point, right?
All right, I guess.
And finally, in a 1984 survey conducted by Hoochie Coo magazine, do you remember the 1984?
Of course, the Hoochie Coo magazine. Who couldn't forget that?
What was the most common name women gave their partners' penises? Okay, different perspective here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thor. Rocky. Mr. Beef. Which, by the way, I'm watching Bear right now.
Great show.
Mr. Beef.
Yeah.
And Skippy. So it's Thor, Rocky, Mr. Beef, or Skippy.
I'm going Skippy.
It was Skippy, correct.
I was expecting Tiny as the fifth choice.
Well, Skippy is the nice way of saying
It's a nice way of saying Tiny.
And I stumbled upon kind of a racist joke. You want to hear it?
Okay.
What do the Chinese do during an erection?
I don't know what.
They vote.
Oh, I get that. It took me a second, but I get
bad.
it.
It's not that
racist. I've heard more racist. Yes, from you especially. Yes. So I have a story for you. This comes from the New York Times, which is the old gray lady, I believe she's called. Apps like Dipsia and Quinn have become popular destinations for women who want to find safe spaces to explore their sexuality.
Okay. Well, we got a theme going on again.
We're doing a whole sex thing. Designed in sleek, modern packages, these apps can be easily confused with those used for meditation, yoga, or therapy, which is, the intentional marketing plan. They situate pleasure in a wellness wrapper, and that allows them to be listed on places like Spotify and, Facebook and Instagram and not get called out,
Nailed.
Right, for that. So that is just a couple of them. Quinn said the average listenership for the past 3 months, 14 million minutes each month. So this is it's like a erotica, audio erotica for women.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a chance for them to listen to this in their headphones and do what people do when they listen to erotica in the privacy of their own home. And it's for women that are like between 18 and 34 years old. Female pleasure is seen as especially gratuitous and frivolous. They want to make it feel like they're making a choice that was good for them. It's a wellness product. Mm-hmm. You can go in and explore yourself.
It's self-awareness.
Yes, which is great for the 18 to 34-year-old women. But
what about someone in their 50s? I'm curious.
What about women that are a little older?
Yeah, okay, sure.
All right. Now, I'm going to need some help with this. If people want to help me out with sound effects and music, but I'm willing to provide. I'm willing to provide the voice.
Oh, ooh.
Okay. You ready?
Because you have a pretty good
voice.
This
is going to be. I'm going to give you a four free ones that can be marketed and sent out there for women
our age.
Okay. All right. Ready? Oh, hey, what am I doing? Just rinsing off the dishes and arranging them properly in the dishwasher exactly the way you want it, baby. Yeah. Right, there's one. All right. You may not want to make eye contact with me during these. All right.
Actually, I can't keep my eyes off of you.
Here's another one. Oh, my God. You are so good at telling me where to find stuff. I found it immediately. All right. Ready? Oh, yeah, it's hot, all right. It's 90 degrees, baby. I brought you your sweater. Here's another. I got an idea tonight, if you're game. I thought we could, watch a drama about rich women in Victoria, England. All right, so there you go. 4 free ones. That's erotica for women.
I wish people could have seen your face doing this. You got into your smolder.
Yeah,
you were smoldering.
I was making myself aroused. All right, so
didn't you tell me that you're the guy who came to fix your washing or your dishwasher once said to you that it doesn't matter how you put all the dish. Bridget was complaining to you that you weren't doing the dishes correctly, right? Am I?
No. It was the dryer. I was always getting yelled at for putting too much in the dryer, and she said that was going to destroy the dryer. And then when the dryer broke, she blamed it on me. And the guy who came here to fix it said that it had absolutely nothing to do with it.
And he was divorced how many times?
He wouldn't say it on the record to her, but he did say it to me. Right. And that's my story.
Yeah. And don't tell your wife fidelity of this, too. Hey, C Unicorn wrote a review, very nice review for us on Apple.
Oh, let's hear it.
This show is awesome. You can tell the hosts have been doing this a long time.
Yeah, a real long time.
It's like listening to a radio show, but funny.
Wow, what does that say about radio shows? Yes. All right, it's time for another feature.
Time now for Studio Walls.
And the words of the prophets were written on the studio walls. Rick and Dave.
So this is the part of the show where we reach into the Rick and Dave archives and we talk about, things from our past. So that's why they call me archives, right? So we have 40...
If it was from the future, archives would not be a word that would apply.
Exactly. In our 40 years of doing wacky content of some kind or another, something's going to tie in. And right now, the actors and writers are on strike. Right. And that's happened before, but that doesn't really affect us as much as baseball strikes do. Mm-hmm. Dave and I have...
lived through... half a dozen? I don't know.
Many of them. And the last one was 30 years ago this week, actually 29 years ago this week, 1994, baseball went on strike. And if you remember, they didn't play the World Series that year.
Right.
Because they were on strike. And Dave, who won the World Series as far as you're concerned?
The White Sox were the computer-generated 1994. It counts. If you go to Cooperstown, it's all the computer programs said the White Sox were going to win.
Yep. And, of course, they didn't get to play in it, and they took them many more years to make it in. And
also, the Montreal Expos were in first place, weren't they? And then they lost their team the next year, didn't they? Or 2 years later.
Yeah. But as it turns out, this is a story that happened in the 90s. And what is true of any story that happened in the 1990s, Dave? Rick has written a parody song. Rick wrote a parody song. This is Landecker and the Legends, and our song was called Baseball Striking Again. Okay. It's to Lou Christie tune.
Listen to me, baseball, you gotta understand. The strike that's going on is really taking off the fans. Listen to me, players, you're gonna lose our love. Put down the picket signs and pick up your baseball gloves. If the owners aren't rich, where'd they get those catered skyboxes? Looking down on the field at the Cubs and the White Soxes. And you spoiled brats in your baseball hats. Better let this drop. Better make this stop because baseball striking again. Baseball striking again. Listen to me, owners, you greedy bunch of guys. I've seen your TV deals and I see how much it buys. Listen to me, owners, the fans are in a crisis. Forget about the strike, about those ticket prices.
Okay.
Those ticket prices then, which were like $14. What the hell?
They were like $50.
So,
but isn't that something? All right. Anyway, that's Baseball Striking Again from Landecker and the Legends Volume 1. The original song, Lightning Strikes by Lou Christie.
So is the backup singers from that original song?
No, that's our band.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounded great.
We would get the band together literally and play
the song.
Every song. Well, we never played songs to karaoke's.
That was great.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, I got another story. You want to hear it?
I do.
All right, this comes out of Georgia, and it does not have anything to do with election fraud.
Okay.
All right. Atlanta man attempts to rob a nail salon and gets ignored by everyone.
Uh-oh.
The unidentified suspect, with his hand in a bag, as if he were holding a weapon, stormed into the Nail First salon last Monday, demanding money. Now, there's a video here.
Yeah.
Audio. Would you like, I sent it to you. You got it?
I got it. I'll play it for you. Right. Here we go.
Everybody get down! Give me all your money! It's got the boxes! Give me all your money!
A would-be robbery doesn't go quite as planned when a suspect storms into a nail salon demanding money, but no one reacts to his threats.
Oh, no, he's wearing a Cubs hat.
Is he really?
Yes, he's wearing a Cubs hat.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Obviously, the best part of this was, and I don't know if it's on the video, that somebody called the nail salon, and the owner picked up the phone, nails first, while the robbery is going. So
that is demoralizing.
Oh, yeah.
I feel bad for this. He definitely should not sentence him to anything. He's already gone through enough, don't you think?
Yeah, well, I know that if I tried to rob my teenager's house or my teenager's rooms or whatever, they'd just ignore me.
Yeah.
Right? Totally.
Well, I have a story for you that's similar. There's audio and video for my story too, but I'm not going to play it for you because it's in Chinese. And you can't really tell what's going on. But it's a story about...
Hey, you know what Chinese people during a...
Oh, no, enough. The slowest sprinter of all time. That's what this story is about. Somalia's sports minister publicly apologized Wednesday and ordered the chairwoman of the National Track and Field Federation to be suspended after a seemingly untrained female sprinter represented the African country at the World University Games in China and took more than 20 seconds to finish the 100-meter race.
100 meter. How long is 100 meters? That's...
Well, like 100 yards,
20 seconds?
20 seconds. That's a long time.
I wonder if I could.
I think we could beat that. I really think we could beat that. So the Minister of Youth, and you've got to watch it. You've got to watch it because even though the announcers are Chinese, I mean, people they're crossing the finish line, cross,
right.
And then there's a very long pause, and then you see, and I'm going to say the woman who's in this is a female sprinter, not a petite woman.
Oh, okay, right.
You know what I mean? Well, as soon as they showed the women lined up at the at
you
sprinter,
tell
I'm like,
the one that was
wait a minute.
Right.
It's like you. I feel like
Number
you were
7's
me.
got no chance there.
Right, exactly.
Well, she probably knew she didn't have a chance. She's like, why even try?
Well, she was like, she didn't care.
Yeah.
When she crossed the finish line, she skipped across the finish line like, woo, I did it.
I love this woman.
The Minister of Youth and Sports, Mohammed Bare Mahmoud, said his ministry did not know how this 20-year-old woman managed to participate in this.
She filled out the forms and they're like, okay, here's your badge.
It turns out, and this may play a part in it, it turns out that she was a relative of the chairwoman who has been suspended by the Somali board, Nasra Abukar, as a relative, and they've asked her to step down, and she will no longer be allowed to participate in any.
You know, when you said Ministry of, I immediately Ministry of Silly Walks.
Yeah,
with Monty Python.
You know, that was more in line with what this was. It was really very much like that. So I recommend anybody go out and check that out. So Dave, we still have time for another feature, and because you're making me jump all over the place with all these different
jingles and
audio
stuff,
clips and stuff.
You're not prepared, are you?
No. I'd like to just take a little moment and
to thank Tony Lasano for all the great work he's done, and Ed Silla, and everybody, everybody who's been a part of the show and everything.
And Exhale.
Okay.
And now
so it's kind of like the meditation app.
It's very much like that.
Like,
hey, how you doing? Hey, yeah.
I can't find the jingle.
Oh, yeah, it's right here. You want a jingle? I got a jingle. It's right here.
A random name pulled out of Rurik's bowl of brushes with celebrities. Mixture, collection, selection, assemblage, medley, assortment, variety. Time now for Celebrity Potpourri with Rick and Dave.
One more thing about that sprinter thing. Yeah. It looks like a Chris Farley bit from SNL. That's the best way to describe it. All right, this is a part of the show.
Didn't Vinny do a marathon once and took him like 14 hours to complete, or it was some enormous time, and then he walked, and like on the website they had all the names, and Vince Argento 9 hours 14
no
minutes.
I don't remember that. So this is from Randy, who sent a thing in here, a longtime listener of your podcast. Dave inspired me.
Oof.
Yes.
Which, if I had a nickel for every time I heard that.
I know, exactly.
I mean, Pete Townsend, how many times did he say that yesterday?
This Randy is probably his stage name. Right. Ever since I heard him say on the podcast, I've taken to asking strangers the most famous person they've ever met.
Okay, good.
Which works. Dave's right. Everyone has one. I was in Jackson, Wyoming last fall and asked the Starbucks barista who was the most famous customer she has ever attended or served.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? She said Pippa Middleton.
The sister of
the sister of Kate Middleton.
Okay.
All right, but here's what it says in the email. I admitted that I didn't know who that was, and she said that's Kate Middleton's sister. Then she said, I guess she's probably not as famous as that guy. She pointed over to a table, and an old man was sitting there alone, sipping his coffee. He looked like he didn't want anyone to bother him, but it took me a few moments to realize who it was. Harrison Ford. He was in the Starbucks when he asked that question.
Oh my god! Oh my god! And the barista's like, I guess that guy's famous, right? Oh.
Yeah. And I guess he lives not far from Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Okay, I looked it up. He lives in Wyoming.
Oh, that is great.
Isn't that funny?
That's a great story.
So thank you, Randy, for that one.
I had a speech comm teacher at U of I who was in New York in the 50s, I guess it was.
Yeah.
And he was walking down the street, and Marilyn Monroe walks by. And all these people ran to Marilyn Monroe, right? And an old man got pushed aside, and he helped the old man up, and it was Einstein.
Oh my God. That's a great story too. Well, special thanks to our executive producer, Tony Lasano, who put shows out even when we were not around these past few weeks. Thank you, Tony. I know
he makes us sound a lot better than we really do.
I know we've been a pain in the butt. He's with opishows.com. Opie is hippo backwards, OPPIH shows.com. We're distributed by Ed Silla with Radio Misfits. Great Talk Radio isn't dead. It just moved to a better place. RadioMisfits.com. And we'll be back again next week.
Or 3 weeks or 5 or whatever.
Whenever we get time, we'll be back again with another episode of
Minutia Men.
The preceding was a presentation of Opie Productions. Find our other great shows wherever you find podcasts, including opishows.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?